The eagle-eyed among you might have spotted images of the Ferrari, Red Bull and Mercedes floors that have been doing the rounds on the internet recently. The new F1 floors are one of the key performance drivers this season, and those that have got them right have profited greatly so far. Today, we're going to have a look at 3 different team solutions and see how each compares. One simple addition Red Bull has made to their floor will shock you. Just as we've seen a variety of different sideboard solutions from teams this year, it appears from the glimpses we've been able to get that there are varied approaches to the floor too. Each team has its own interpretation of how best to extract performance within the bounds of the new regulations. Now, there are photos of some of the floors on the grid though. We wouldn't be surprised to see some teams' ideas cropping up on other cars. With porpoising remaining such a headache and the role the ground effect floor plays in this being so important, there has been some intrigue since Imola about a concept Red Bull is using on the underside of its RB18. Before we look at why Red Bull's floor is so interesting though, let's look at the similarities between the designs. All 3 teams' floors are designed to create 2 Venturi tunnels. The Venturi effect is the reduction in fluid pressure that results when a fluid flows through a constricted section of a pipe. In this case, the pipe is created by the racetrack and the car floor. Whenever you have differences in pressure between 2 areas, the pressure will attempt to equalize. How this applies to F1 car floors is that where the Venturi effect happens, the car is pulled closer to the track. This happens because the low pressure area is trying to fill itself with the car above. It's a simple enough idea that gets a lot more complicated the more in-depth you go, so we're going to leave the explanation at that. The F1 car floors have 2 Venturi tunnels that are separated by this large flat section that runs down the middle of the car. This large section is designed to house the car's heaviest parts. By having the heavier parts of the car closer to the ground, you lower the center of gravity and make the car more stable and therefore handle better. While that overall design concept is the same with all 3 floors, there are some nuances between each. Red Bull's floor features an ice skate strake, a metal strip with holes in it, which sits in the rear outer corner of the floor and appears to offer numerous performance advantages. The most obvious suggestion is that the metal strake inhibits the floor's flexion under load, so stops porpoising being triggered too early. This could be achieved in 2 ways. Firstly, by adding some stiffness directly to that region of the floor, but secondly, by acting as a skid of sorts, in stopping the floor flexing any more once it's touched the track itself. This will be why the component is metal rather than carbon, so it doesn't wear away as much. It is a really ingenious way of reducing the risk of porpoising and could be something we see on more F1 cars in the very near future, maybe even as soon as Miami. It isn't the only unique feature of the Red Bull floor though. If you have a look at the front of the floor, you'll notice some obvious differences between the different strakes. Ferrari uses 4 strakes, with the furthest starting right underneath the nose of the car. Red Bulls though start further back and look much more complex. They use 4 as well, but one of those is extremely short. Mercedes again have 4, but theirs appear to be more simplistic, similar to the Ferrari strakes. It is the little nuances to the Red Bull floor, such as the ice skate towards the rear and the complexity of the strakes at the front, that portray just how far ahead they are of the rest of the grid when it comes to the floor design. These little complexities could create localized pockets of high or low pressure, which would really mess with how the floor works unless you were expecting them and had control of them. Thanks to Red Bull's incredible Chief Technical Officer Adrian Newey, Red Bull are able to incorporate these little complexities into their car. Newey was working in F1 when ground effect floors were first used, and his knowledge of them has been invaluable to the Red Bull team this year. If Red Bull go on to win the Drivers' or Constructors' Championship this year, they have him to thank. What are your thoughts now you've seen the 3 floors next to each other? Those Red Bull ice skates are pretty amazing, right? Let us know what you think in the comments below. And while you're down there, please subscribe to F101 and I'll see you in the next video.